Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Wrestling Mat. I am Matt Camp. Thank you for being with us. Whether it's your first time, hello and welcome. That's me. That's where you can find everything at thewrestlingmatshow.com. If you've been with us the whole way, thank you for your loyalty. That means a lot to us, the members, the Mat members, not only the subscribers, and we appreciate as we approach the 5,000 mark, all of you, but the Mat members who have been signing up. We love having you here as well. We're going to love having you for SummerSlam tomorrow night. We're going to Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Wrestling Mat. I am Matt Camp. Thank you for being with us. Whether it's your first time, hello and welcome. That's me. That's where you can find everything at thewrestlingmatshow.com. If you've been with us the whole way, thank you for your loyalty. That means a lot to us, the members, the Mat members, not only the subscribers, and we appreciate as we approach the 5,000 mark, all of you, but the Mat members who have been signing up. We love having you here as well. We're going to love having you for SummerSlam tomorrow night. We're going to be previewing today on the show SummerSlam, the 7 singles matches, all of that, my predictions, where I think things could be going. All of that is coming your way as promised on this Friday. Early August, one of the earliest SummerSlams I can remember. Maybe the earliest, perhaps. It was in July one year, wasn't it? It was. A couple years back, I think I was at that SummerSlam. But all of that is coming your way today, and I will be with you if you are a Mat member at the mid-card level or higher, the Mat event, because, well, not only are those two tiers getting it, but also right above Todd, that tier is getting it as well. Yes, for this special first-time membership offer, any tier of membership here at the Wrestling Mat gets you into our watch party, which is tomorrow night for SummerSlam. Looking forward to talking to a lot of you, a lot of instant reaction. There you go. This is what you get. You get that picture of me from 5 years ago, but not the guy that was talking about that stuff 5 years ago. The one who's here now, who can talk about anything he wants. And as we watch SummerSlam, and man, I regret Logan Paul being on that poster after yesterday's mess of an effort on Twitter. And, well, someone in PR probably had to handle that, but he was busy doing a podcast. Anyway, that is tomorrow night. That is our live watch party for any level here at the Wrestling Mat that you sign up for in the membership. Right down below right now, by the way, right down there. If you'd like to be a part of it, you certainly can do that. And we'd love to have you starting at just $2.99 at thewrestlingmatshow.com. So more of that coming your way, but we'll get into the tiers. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Should I flash them up really quickly? Should I flash the tiers? There's the tiers. Look at how beautiful that looks right below Todd. The loyalty badges, the custom emojis, the live chats. Look at what you get there right below Todd at $2.99 a month. That's the base level, and that will get you to that SummerSlam party, that SummerSlam watch party tomorrow night. The mid-card level, you get all those right above Todd Perks Plus. Shout-out members for the members, members-only videos, such as, by the way, not one, but 2 bonus videos, 2 bonus pieces of content, 30-minute episodes, special episodes of the Wrestling Mat. Last night, yesterday, we premiered for those of the mid-card and Mat event levels. What did you get last night at 8 p.m. Eastern? Last night it premiered. You can watch it whenever you want if you're a mid-card or a Mat event level member. My top 5 SummerSlam matches of all time. That includes historical thoughts and data and documents and me being at some of these shows. I talk all about it, where the company was at the time, what could have happened in those shows. You can check that out. And we will be watching, if you're a mid-carder going forward, a random episode of Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite live right here so you can watch along with me. And if you're in the Mat event, you get everything right below Todd. You get everything in the mid-card. Plus, we're going to connect with you on social media. We'll follow you from the Matt Camp, my personal account, Wrestling Mat 23 on X and Instagram. If we haven't done that yet, for those of you, please let us know. We'll make sure it happens. You're eligible to be part of the 30-minute private Zooms, one-on-one AMA with me. You're paying for it. You're going to get something like that. Special watch-along, quarterly specials, merchandise, private past wrestling event, watch party, watch-alongs. We're going to let someone in the tiers pick something for us to watch. You get to make the call. We all watch it back together, and that makes it a lot easier to do those kind of things when you're putting out the bonus content, which is exactly what we're doing. So check it all of that out. But like I said, $2.99 gets you in for the SummerSlam watch party. Puts you at that right above Todd tier. But hey, we have members at all tiers right now. And if you're a member of any tier, you'll be at the watch party for SummerSlam, which is coming your way Saturday night. I'm not going to be doing the countdown thing. That's like 3 hours long. No thank you. Good luck to Jackie and Cole for manning the ship on those. I assume it's them. It's probably them. But what I want you to think about, if you're preparing for the SummerSlam watch party, is how you're going to watch us. Do you put me up on the computer? Do you put, SummerSlam up on Peacock or the network on your iPad, or vice versa? Plan it out. You haven't planned it out. Now you know. Hey, I can watch both. Love to have you. Going to get me talking to the comment section, the whole show, reacting to everything at SummerSlam as it's going on. If you've watched me before, some things jog my memory. I get to bring up stories. I'm sure I'll have plenty of stories I have never shared on my live shows here, 1 o'clock Eastern, every single weekday at thewrestlingmatchshow.com. Some stories just pop into my head when I see people. I will absolutely share those with you if you're joining us for the Wrestling Mat watch party of SummerSlam, which is coming your way tomorrow night. Now, what have you maybe missed from this week? Well, we had Joe Hendry on the show 2 days ago. Yes, Joe Hendry was on here Wednesday, just 14 hours removed from having the concert at NXT, getting interrupted by Gallows, coming up with another original song, putting Booker T as the head of the Joe Hendry fan club. Yeah, Joe Hendry was on the Wrestling Mat and broke news that was an exclusive to the Wrestling Mat, and then picked up by everybody else. And by the way, if you're going to do that, just the link. I get it. I get you're giving us credit, but hey, where's it coming from? It's coming from here. We always credit the same. I sounded like somebody that's very famous in the news for a second, and I don't want to sound like him. I don't know where that came from. My bad. Anyway, there's your tangent for the first 10 minutes of the show. Joe Hendry did indeed tell us that he is training at the Performance Center. This is not just the Tuesday night show up on NXT and go home and back to TNA. Training at the Performance Center, broken right here on the Wrestling Mat. How about Joe Hendry giving us that piece of information, which I'm sure, and I have seen, has gotten people talking that much more about this partnership between WWE and TNA. And by the way, I did a whole thing on that recently on the WrestlingMatchShow.com. You go back and look at it. It's in the live show. We also clip a lot of those conversations out so you can digest them a little quicker, a little easier. If you're just looking to kind of peruse the menu, if you will. We have quite the menu. Yesterday's episode, I talked about WWE's internal reaction to CM Punk and Brawl Out, and that became a whole CM Punk conversation, which I said it would be very Punk heavy. And as I said in that conversation, I talked to him once. I never met him in person. I talked to him one time. I basically tell you everything of my CM Punk fandom from 2011 to how things went at Backstage, to how, and that's another episode of the show. And also covered him at, Backstage, coming back to WWE, AEW, the issues that happened there. What I heard about, not gospel. And I say this all the time in the chat. People are like, well, this person said this. And I go, listen. Doesn't mean they're correct. Doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. I share what I know. I will always say, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's necessarily true or not, but when I hear it enough times, I'll tell you that. And you don't have to take it as truth. But I talked about a lot about CM Punk and what I heard about him in AEW, good and bad, and how the reaction was from a lot of us when he ended back up in WWE at Survivor Series 2023. All there for you. A lot covered here on the Wrestling Mat. Talked about Bobby Lashley recently. Talked about the partnerships that WWE is forming. Where Dynamite, AEW is going in terms of their contracts. And, of course, as we head forward to All In. Just a few weeks away. But first, SummerSlam. And let's get into SummerSlam here. Once again, if you're just joining us, you can join us for SummerSlam at thewrestlingmatchshow.com, starting at just $2.99 in the membership tiers. Any member of the Wrestling Mat here, which join below, And if you're watching later, still join below or go to thewrestlingmatchshow.com. Look for that join button. That's all you need. You'll see all the membership options. But $2.99, base tier. You sign up for any tier, you come watch SummerSlam with us here tomorrow night. All right, let's get into these matches. Breaking them all down for you. Where should we start? Let's go here. Now this one's kind of been in the books for a while. Bayley, WWE Women's Champion since WrestleMania, where she took out Io Sky and the now seemingly babyface Damage Control over on Raw, taking on the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. Now, they have not been shy about the teases of Tiffany cashing in Money in the Bank. She is clearly aligned with Nia Jax, and I know Bayley wrecked the briefcase, but it gets taped back together, and all you really need is that piece of paper that says title shot anytime in 1 year. And I remember bringing that up when Tiffany won. Just the idea of her being able to cash in on Bayley at SummerSlam. Now, that's been addressed somewhat on television with Bayley and Nia and Tiffany. You could go a couple ways with this. You could have Bayley able to turn back a very game Nia. You heat up a heel the way they did, as I said, during that Queen of the Ring tournament. I liked what they did with Nia. If you're going to heat a heel up, what does she need? She needs an accolade. She needs a big talking point that nobody wants to hear, but it's the truth. That she defeated Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair en route to the finals, where she defeated Lyra Valkyria to become Queen of the Ring. Now, she's not going to bring up the fact that Jade got disqualified. She's not going to bring up the fact that Bianca was injured and going in that match at less than 100%. It doesn't matter. She's the heel. There's gray areas of truth. The gray areas of truth. That's what a heel does. Yeah, she beat them. How she beat them? Don't you worry about that. But she did it, and she's Queen of the Ring. And I will absolutely say, from seeing her the first time around to seeing her this time around, that Nia has been a very good addition to the women's roster. I think she's done a great job since coming back. I think she has made more of this already. I think she's just been a better wrestler, a better character than she was the first time around. Maybe that comes with experience. Maybe that comes with a little hunger of being out of the company, coming back to the company. She's an asset to the company. This match looks good on paper. I don't think anybody's super enthused about it, but it's a good match on paper. And it's one of the only 2 women's matches on the show. And right now, 4 women are booked on SummerSlam in matches. Sure, Tiffy can show up or things can happen later. There's just 4. This Bayley run, I've thought about it a lot. Like, what makes sense? Do you just have Nia win? Tiffany thinks about it, stands in the aisle, lets it go. You could do that. It wouldn't be the worst thing to get Bayley back into the chase. Do you have Bayley get the win over Nia? Maybe just 3 seconds better. Nia beats her down. Here comes Tiffany. She cashes in. Nia lets it happen, or she doesn't let it happen. That's an outcome. I don't think that you're going to see Tiffany cash in on Nia. I don't think that will happen. The only way I could see that happening is if they want to lean into the fact that a lot of times, since we've seen Tiffany Stratton, which goes back to February of this year, there have been a lot of positive reactions to Nia, to Tiffany. Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank. She's gotten some pops. Do you lean into that? I think her natural delivery is that of a heel. Whiny, I'm better than you. It's just how she presents herself. I don't know how much of that she's putting on. It just comes across that way. So they could go with, I think any of the 3 women I just mentioned could walk out of this match with the championship. I would guess if Bayley wins, there's your cash-in spot. A beaten down Bayley, a weakened Bayley, sure. Nia winning, sure. Tiffany cashing in. It's all in play, which is what you want. You want that. You don't want a foregone conclusion. If they wanted to continue with Nia, take the title off of Bayley for a bit, let her go back into the chase. I would like to see that because I don't know if this babyface turn has taken the way anybody would have hoped. And that's coming from somebody who is a big Bayley fan and was happy for this entire arc with her and Damage Control. And I don't know. There's like this piece missing, and I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's the music. I don't know. Meanwhile, Damage Control looks like they're baby faces now. We'll see. We'll see on this one. Skip that. Let's go. Let's go to this. And I've talked about this a lot. You have a seemingly turning babyface, Damian Priest, taking on the King of the Ring, Gunther, who should be walking into his crowning moment. Not that crown that he never wore, by the way. His crowning moment. It seems like that's what this should be. This is what you built Gunther up for. This is why he's lost one time by pinfall or submission since coming to Raw and SmackDown. Yes, I know about Survivor Series 2019. It's like it doesn't count. That's a mulligan. It's a mulligan on the start of Gunther's run. He was Walter back then anyway, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Gunther has only lost to Sami Zayn by pinfall or submission. Gunther then won King of the Ring. Gunther has Bash at Berlin coming up. And I know people are saying, well, do it there. I think you let him walk in as champ. I brought up the idea and I think the perception of this show that it doesn't feel SummerSlam big. It's not a bad card. It just doesn't feel SummerSlam big. And I think that's because a lot of things are happening at once that are new directions or pushes from mid-card to main event, or new characters getting over. And that's all good. That's a great thing for the future. But because it's so much happening at once, you don't have as much established, big name, pay-per-view selling. And I get it. It's a Peacock thing. Ticket sell. You don't have as many of those firmly established people on the card in big spots. And some of them are in the same matches, right? Drew and Punk and Seth are all in one match. Rhea and Liv. This is still fairly new with the Liv run in terms of her being a heel and leaning into that and really getting a main event push, because that's what it is. And because of all that stuff going on with Judgment Day, it feels like Priest, he's been a background player. His title hasn't meant as much. He hasn't been the most important story in Judgment Day because he hasn't been. Every one of his championship defenses in the last few months have been basically his whole entire championship run has become, all the defenses have become background to Punk and Drew from the night he won it at WrestleMania with the cash in because of Punk. Clash of the Castle, Punk. Money in the Bank, cash in foiled, Punk. And I did like that you could see the frustration on Damian's face, because how many times has he told, hey, Finn, I don't need your help. He doesn't want anybody's help. He wants to prove himself. And those are babyface characteristics. So they're going in that direction. Because when this match got announced, or when it looked like we were heading towards this match, I went, yikes, that's not a SummerSlam match. Two heels up against each other. And I thought, all right, maybe Drew will win, or Seth will win, or probably not Seth. But, I thought maybe Seth, just because Seth and Gunther felt like the right kind of match. Seth wins it for a month, loses to Gunther. Okay, no problem. And instead, they've leaned into this, and they've had Gunther cut, those scathing promos where it's heel 101 stuff. You're running down the babyface's upbringing, and how dare you? Look at the level I'm at. Look what I came through in life. I'm great. I'm the best. I was made for this. I was asked to do this. They came running for me. What were you? You're on the street. Just basic stuff, but I will say it's worked. Priest is getting babyface reactions despite being aligned with a mostly heel group, and I say that because Rhea Ripley doesn't feel like a heel. And I wonder if it's just the best case scenario, because you get more than one story out of this, is if Priest loses on a night where, and I'll get to it, Rhea loses, and there's friction within the Judgment Day that just spills over. And that's a bigger story. Judgment Day splitting up. Dom ending up with Liv. Finn being behind more of it. Finn being pissed off he was never brought into the conversation as a leader, where it was always Damian or Rhea. Why not Finn? I think that's where that could be going. I think Priest and Finn is probably a direction coming out of this. And not to say that Finn will necessarily cost him, but maybe just the distraction of everything going on within Judgment Day. Priest takes his eye off the ball, which you can't do against Gunther, and we have a new world heavyweight champion, and Gunther goes off on his path, and Damian Priest goes off on his path, and you know what? We might as well follow this up right with it, because it's all I'm thinking about. Yeah, this match right here. Rhea Ripley back. First action since WrestleMania. Notice they kept her out of mostly physical things. Just about everything. Against the world heavyweight champion, Liv Morgan. A direction that I think everybody knows they wanted to get to anyway after WrestleMania, as they should. That makes sense. You were bringing Liv back. She wanted revenge. She tried to take Dom from Rhea. She did or didn't. Before that, though, we see, Rhea get injured in a fluke thing, but let Liv take credit for it. Absolutely. And in the meantime, you let Liv go after Dom. And he backed off. And then, Liv's helpful. Liv and Dom get a little close. Liv helps Finn and JD win the tag titles. She's trying to help Dom as much as she can. Rhea comes back. Liv gets scared. Dom seems confused, kind of scared. Always kind of scared of Rhea. Uh-oh, how much has she seen? Well, she's seen a lot. But she's still with you. He tells Liv, I hate you. She's burning stuff in a garbage can like it's some mid-90s teen movie. And all seems well with Liv on the bad side of Rhea and Dom coming back together. Or do they? I think a lot of people expect Dom to turn, but I think there can be more than just Dom turning. And I get back to my point about Finn. Why? Finn, in those Easter eggs that we've seen, way before all this, chatting with Liv in the background, getting out of the same car. Who's to say Finn's not behind all this? And not to say, as I'm thinking about it now, not to say Liv ends up with Dom. What if Liv ends up with Finn? And this was the way to make this all happen, to split their Judgment Day, for Finn to get the spotlight, for Finn to stop getting overlooked. Rhea's the leader. Damian's the leader. Hey, right here, first Universal Champion. Far deeper resume than both of you. Certainly Priest. I only ran I started the most successful wrestling group of the last 15 years. Right here, Finn Balor. Why not? Now, I still think Dom will be siding with Finn. I think Dom would be siding with Liv when the night's over, because I just don't think you can have Dom with Rhea and let her keep going as a babyface. It doesn't work. I think the Terror Twins, Rhea and Damian, end up on the outs, infighting there within the group. JD, Finn, Liv, Dom. Maybe you add something to that. I don't know. That's a possibility. What if you added like a Tatum Paxley to that? Kind of as Liv's minion. She kind of fits the bill, doesn't she? That could work. But Rhea does not need to walk out of SummerSlam with the World Championship. this story can continue. And it's a full launch of Rhea as a babyface when Dom turns on her. And he gets, because I think it's died a little, he gets all that heat back. And you have Dom turn on Rhea and Liv walk out of SummerSlam with the World Heavyweight Championship, the Women's World Championship, I should say. They open Raw Monday to deafening boos. Dom disrespects mommy. Dom drops mommy. There you go. There's your little headline. Dom drops mommy. Watch him. That could be Liv's final line. You held him back. You kept him under your thumb. You didn't let my beautiful, dirty Dom spread his wings. He's not dirty. He's my Dom. And now it's time to watch him. And Rhea is just on a warpath as a babyface. It seems very logical. It also seems like the right story. I don't think you need to mess around with it too much. Execution will just have to be there when it's all said and done. Oh, boy. Logan Paul and LA Knight. The United States champion, Logan Paul. And what a representative of the United States is he. He's had like a handful of defenses, but LA's been after him for a while. I always felt like this was a collision course. It was going to happen. LA taking the U.S. title off of Logan Paul. Yeah, Logan's from the area. Don't think it matters. He'll get booed because it's LA Knight. And LA Knight has cooled off in a way where I know the reactions are still there, but you look at what the booking looks like. And listen, he was wrestling for the WWE Championship at the start of the year. Then he wrestled AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Not a very memorable match. Then he loses to AJ Styles en route to AJ become the number one contender. But LA had the focus on Logan Paul, and they've had their interactions. And I think Logan, and I'm going to just speak about the wrestling character, not the knucklehead that tweets dumb shit. Logan, I think, is firmly established. I've been saying that this match is, we know where LA Knight's at. He's been around. He's over. We know what Logan Paul is. Is he a special attraction? Yes, still, but he's around more. We've seen these guys. We've seen Logan Paul on the big stage before. LA Knight had one of his breakout moments last year at SummerSlam when he won the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Holy hell, that's a year ago. So this is a pretty firmly established match with guys whose, positions we know. And I think it is time to put the U.S. title on LA Knight, and maybe good timing for WWE to have Logan Paul out of the picture. I'm just saying. Who knows when he'll be back? Prime will still be there. Who knows? We'll see. But it is LA Knight's time. Who do you throw up in front of LA Knight first? Who do you throw in his way for the U.S. title? That's something to think about. There's the Andrade Carmelo feud. Oof. Does one of those guys who comes out on top of that step in the way of LA Knight? That's a possibility. I could see them doing LA and Carmelo, although they've, kind of done that a little bit already. Carmelo, not even sniffing the SummerSlam card. I'd love to know if there's been a reassessment of how he's viewed. Because clearly, the number one draft pick of SmackDown is not performing at that level on a consistent basis. He didn't make SummerSlam. That learning curve could be steep. The deep end is deep. And I'm not trying to rhyme. Let's see where he is in 6 months. Let's see where he shakes out on the card. By the way, You know where you could be tomorrow night? Right there. Our SummerSlam watch party right here on the wrestling mat. Sign up for any level of our mat memberships, which start at just $2.99. And you, for this month only, in terms of the memberships, any tier gets you into our premium live event watch along. By the way, those tiers, they're right here, right below Todd. Gets you into $2.99 a month. Mid-card level. Mid-card level gets you, and the mat event, by the way, gets you bonus content. Last night, top 5 SummerSlam matches of all time premiered for mid-carders and the mat events. Mat eventers at 8 Eastern. And tonight at 7 Eastern, you're going to get the worst 5 SummerSlam main events. That's there for you, the mid-card. Also, look at all that for the mid-card. We're going to watch random Raw or SmackDown or Dynamites or Collisions live once a month. And then, of course, with the mat event, you get everything you see right below Todd. You get everything in the mid-card level. Access to me on 30-minute 101 AMAs on Zoom. Special watch-along for quarterly, special watch-alongs, quarterly special merchandise. Private past wrestling event watch parties, watch-alongs. Pick something in the past. We'll watch it together. All that coming your way. And if you sign up for any of those tiers, you get to be part of this. Love to have you aboard for our SummerSlam watch-along tomorrow night. Let's continue to talk about SummerSlam. Let's go to the next match. Cover what, about half the card so far? Right in that area? Let's go to this one. And I thought about this a lot. Sami Zayn, Bron Breakker. And I still think that last month at Money in the Bank, I don't think I loved the finish. I've thought about it a bit more. I don't dislike it as much as I did. I thought it was surprising that Sami won clean, that he wasn't just 3 seconds better. I thought he would take advantage of Bron's rage and inexperience and being a rookie and trying to do too much. And the lights maybe bringing just a little too bright. He wasn't focused on beating a veteran, a great Intercontinental Champion. No, they had Sami beat him. And I thought about it more. And I always think wins matter more when the person you're beating has more credibility. Well, for Sami Zayn, he's the guy that ended on the biggest stage of them all, the greatest Intercontinental Championship reign in WWE history. He beat the unstoppable Gunther, the man who had never been pinned, who had never been submitted since coming to SmackDown, moving to Raw. Nobody could touch him, and Sami beat him. Sami turned back Bronson Reed. Sami turned back Chad Gable multiple times. A maniacal, a hyper-driven Chad Gable who was throwing his friends, throwing his academy aside just so he could win the Intercontinental Championship. And where did it get him? Well, he's dealing with the Wyatt Six now. So instead of having Bron beat Sami the first time, you let Sami build it up a little more. And the two continue to feud. And multiple times. And this is where positioning matters. They have closed Monday Night Raw with Bron Breakker taking out and standing over Sami Zayn. Beloved. The underdog from the underground. The man who found his way into the bloodline, got out of the bloodline, took them on, has become a main eventer. Still wanted to go after the IC title. Beat Gunther. Everything that Sami has done. One of the most over people in the company for years. And they had Bron Breakker, who hasn't been on Raw for that long, put him down, stand over him. They have had Bron Breakker get put in such a fantastic spotlight. They show that camera above the ring, the Coyote camera, and you get to see that whole run, and they've put the miles per hour, and they've tried all these different video of everything they have been able to do to present Bron Breakker has made him seem like this unstoppable force, like this agent of chaos and rage and not caring who gets in his way. And to be fair, it all started with, why am I not in King of the Ring? All right, I'm going to destroy Ricochet so bad he's not going to be in the company anymore. I'm going to beat Ilya Dragunov so bad on the outside of the ring, they're going to have to call the match. I'll trade with Sheamus. I'll take out Sami. Whatever you're throwing in my way, it's not enough. That's how they presented Bron, and they've been smart with the promos. Never too much. You're not asking him to come out there and cut a 10-minute promo in the middle of the ring, cut and start the show. When they have put him in front of the live crowd, Sami's out there with him. It's a very good presentation. It's accentuating everything that is great about him. You're hiding things he still is working on, and that's fine. You're getting what you need to, and you're getting him over, and he's believable. As I've said this, he's not that big of a guy, but he wrestles big, and he's presented big, and he acts big. Sometimes that's enough. And that spear that he hits, if you've seen the impact, that he's just trying to cut people in half. There are spears when it's the hand hug. There are spears that just don't have that same kind of speed. And they've won matches, and they've won world titles. Bron's is different. Bron looks like he's hitting a football tackling dummy every time with the force. It's a water boy tackle. And I mean that in the highest way of a compliment. That's what Bron is doing with that spear. And it's a move with that kind of force that he can hit on anybody. Always important as you're ascending. Can you hit your finish on anybody? He can. Sami Zayn hitting the brain buster on the turnbuckle at WrestleMania on a much bigger Gunther. He did it. Bron Breakker can cut anybody in half. And I think after he wasn't able to do it at Money in the Bank, he will do it in Cleveland. It's a story that begins anew for the Intercontinental Championship. A young upstart who could not be denied. Who took down a great champion. The one who took down the greatest Intercontinental Champion. Bron got that experience of one PLE against Sami under his belt. Kept pushing forward, got the other earned, not demanded, earned the next chance. He gets his crowning moment at SummerSlam. So yes, we got new US champ, we got a new IC champ. Women's World should stay put. I think the WWE Women's Championship is up for grabs. If you're building to new directions and new things, you're going to have new champions along the way on the same night. Gunther, LA Knight, Bron Breakker. All right, 2 matches to go here. I'm gonna put this one up first. This match has the most heat. This match has the most story. This match has the most star power. This match is the best built match outside of what happened this past Monday on Raw. Usually when you say all those things, it's the main event, especially of SummerSlam. I think it would be the main event of SummerSlam in most years. I don't think it will be because I think Cody and Solo need the main event more than this match does. I think you keep the door open for Roman to show up, as many people expect, since we haven't seen him since WrestleMania. And remember about this. You got to think about business. And it is only August, so I could be early on this. I could be jumping the gun. SmackDown moves to USA in October. CW gets NXT in October. Raw will remain on the USA Network until they move to Netflix at the start of the year. What are the shows going to look like? What kind of impression do you want to make? SmackDown moving to USA. The numbers are going to go down. And it's not a knock on the show. It's just you move from network to cable, that's what happens. But I don't think we're that far off from Roman. And this certainly feels like a way to make a big impact. So we'll get to that, which is why I think Drew, Punk, and Seth Rollins will not main event. And in fact, I would have it open the show. And that's a good thing. You could have it second from top. You could do that. I would get that. I think Rhea Liv will be second from top. If this opens the show, Drew and Punk, Rhea Liv, I think those are the interchangeable matches. Rhea Liv opens, Punk, Drew, second from the top. I think I would separate Punk and Drew from Solo and Cody because I don't think Punk and Drew is going to be easy to follow. It's got the biggest story. It's got the biggest names all in one match. It has the most. It's so well done other than Monday, and I think that was just listen. They get a pass. This has been so well done. We're going to see CM Punk's first singles match since 2014. We've seen him in the ring for one televised match as he's come back, Royal Rumble. Got hurt, didn't look great at the end. He wrestled, 2 times before that against Dom on the house shows during the holiday loop? Now, I was talking about this yesterday. And a year ago, CM Punk had a damn good match with Samoa Joe for his fake world title to open up All In, to open up Windley, right after the Jack Perry stuff that happened. That's only a year ago. I thought he looked a little slow in the Rumble, but also he got hurt quickly. So, listen, we'll wipe that away. I hope he's where he needs to be. I hope his health is where it needs to be for this matchup. Because he's facing somebody who, as I've said recently in the last week here, is in his prime. In every facet. I've never seen a more comfortable, confident, locked in Drew McIntyre. I thought Seth and Punk had their fumbles on Monday. Drew did not. Drew was the best part of that segment. And I think people know how good Drew is, and that's why he's getting cheered. Punk will always have his hardcore fan base. They've followed him for decades. And that's a hell of a thing to have. But I also think that other people go, wait a minute. Punk's the dick in this whole thing. Drew's been the one pushing back on him after things happen. Yeah, he dumped him in his hometown, bloodied and laying on SmackDown. Yeah, he did that. But for the most part, this has more been about Punk screwing Drew. Intentionally. Just like Drew said, I really wasn't trying to hurt you at Royal Rumble, but I did. Everything Punk has done has been intentional. Everything. You can't say that about Drew. That's why Drew has his supporters. This match is not and shouldn't be any kind of, beautiful, highly rated affair. Not in the traditional sense of the word. They should go out and beat the shit out of each other. I said you can't, with all the heat that they've put in this match, no, you can't start it in Hell in a Cell, but you also couldn't just go, hey, you guys haven't had a match. You hate each other in every way possible. We've had to separate you. We said you couldn't touch. Just go have a one-on-one match. No. I didn't like that they didn't touch each other on Monday. I didn't like that they all of a sudden started following the rules. Who cares? It's not about winning and losing. They just want to hurt the other guy. Drew said, I'm not going to stop until your heart stops. That is not about getting a pinfall. That's about beating the hell out of the other guy because you fucking hate his guts. And he should. That's what this match should be. Now, how does Seth play into it? You can take the SummerSlam 1997 route a couple different ways. Seth goes to hit Punk. He hits Drew. Punk wins. Seth goes to hit Drew. He hits Punk. Drew wins. Which is what I'm leaning towards. Because I don't think you need to rush, and they haven't, Punk Drew to the next match. I think Punk Seth is worth going to. Now, the company might look at that as a bigger match. It was going to be on WrestleMania. It was going to be for the world title. Hell, Punk may have main evented night one and finally got his main event. Then he'd be trailing Kevin Owens 2-1. But everybody has a reason to have a gripe with everybody else. And you can play this out. For those in the mid-card, for those of the mat event, I spoke about SummerSlam 1997. If you haven't watched yet, go check it out. What it spun off to. Brett and Taker become Shawn and Taker, become Shawn and Taker, become Shawn and Brett, becomes the launch of Shawn Michaels as the heel WWF champion. There's no title in this match. Not to say that someone could end up, one of the three guys in this match, end up against Gunther at Bash at Berlin. That's a possibility. But there are ways to go with this. And Punk could come out with a win, and it pisses Drew off that much more. Or Drew could come out with a win, and now Drew has that over Punk and can hold it over Punk. And if Seth messes with Punk, well, if it's by mistake, Punk will still be pissed. If it's on purpose, I could absolutely see Seth saying, oops. And the rage that Punk has for Seth maybe gets on the level of the rage that Drew has for Punk. Because I don't think it's even. And if it's supposed to be, Drew's done a better job of expressing how much rage and anger he has for Punk versus how much rage and anger Punk has for Drew. And I don't know if it's supposed to be that. I don't know if that's what they're going for. Drew has every right to be more pissed off. I don't feel like Punk is as mad as at Drew. He's mad at him. He doesn't like him, but it's not at that level. That's at least not what's been expressed. But if Seth messes with Punk, that could set Punk off. That wristband is the only thing that's really set Punk off because it's about his family. If Seth gets in the way of Punk getting his on Drew, you have that story to tell. Do you push Drew further into absolute blinding rage? Or do you give Drew that over Punk? Because I lean that way. Because Punk's gotten so much in terms of results over Drew. Because he is the reason Drew is not the world heavyweight champion. And he could say that he did that on 3 different occasions. Intentionally. Where, for the most part, Drew's only done one major intentional thing to Punk. I think Drew needs to get a little back. And this won't be over. And I think they will revisit this. And I think those two will end up in Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood in Atlanta in a couple months. And I think you'll see blood in that match because this feud warrants it. It's got the heat, baby. Now, does this match have the heat? What kind of heat does this match have? Is this a main event caliber SummerSlam match? One half of it, no doubt about it, Cody Rhodes. The other half is Solo Sikoa. The man who was told he would be the next tribal chief. That was a thing. Slow start. I called them the NWOB team. They needed to heat things up. The old bloodline, the Roman, Usos, even Sami with Paul bloodline was calculated and a plan. You had to respect them. They pulled political strings. They knew what they were doing. Roman got power hungry at times, but everybody fell in line. You wouldn't get one over on the bloodline. Very rarely. And if you put them down, you didn't put them down for long. When they took you out for a reason. Roman would get his hands dirty when he needed to. Much more calm, cool, and collected. This bloodline, since Jacob Fatu has become part of the group, is out for blood. They want to scare you. They want to scare you by hurting you. Not with the power they have. Roman scared you with his power. This bloodline scares you with scare tactics, with physicality, with taking you out. Solo might be leading the way. He knows who he has behind him. But he also knows he's got to be right in the middle of all this stuff. And he was. And he has been. And he's the leader. So he's the one getting the shot. He did pin Cody at Money in the Bank. And they've systematically taken out Cody's allies. Because Cody's been smart since last year. He picked up allies along the way. He broke that bloodline up. Jay. Out. Jimmy fell by the wayside. Jay and Jimmy battled WrestleMania. Yeah, Rock was involved, of course. But Cody found help as well. And Cody got even more help at WrestleMania. And Cody has kept help by his side. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. But what has the bloodline done? They've not only taken them out, they have taken them out, so they very likely will not be in Cleveland tomorrow night. Because you need Randy and Kevin to sell those beatings, and I think they will. So Cody's outnumbered once again. I don't think anybody thinks that Solo Sikoa is walking out of SummerSlam with the WWE Championship. I do think Cody will beat him. Does Cody beat him without help? Does he get by him? I would have to guess yes. And I do believe Roman Reigns is coming back. And I believe it's been planned for a time. Because WWE has made a point to make those big moments happen on their big shows. They want that. They want that for storytelling. They want that for the company look as a whole. By the way, if Roman's coming back, those Fanatic.com shirts will be up immediately. Like, I believe all that. Roman coming back is a big deal. I haven't heard anything. I don't know. Storyline's up that way. And if the bloodline beats down Cody after that, yeah, I don't see the show ending that way. I see a returning Roman Reigns. Now, is a returning Roman Reigns coming back to fight off the bloodline? And Cody rolls out of the ring and it's not about Cody and Roman? You could do that, by the way. Roman comes out with a chair, equalize, whatever. You could do that. You could get Cody out of there. And then it's not about Roman saving Cody. It's about Roman taking back what is his or maybe having to start anew. Or, if you do want that big moment, and I'm sure Endeavor would love that big moment, you have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Massive baby faces standing side by side. Can't be friends. But would they remain enemies? Also, would you keep them on the same show? What does that look like? Is that a down the line, Roman and Cody, you owe me one? Once again, smart, calculated, planning Roman Reigns. I'll go out there and save Cody. I know what I'm after. I'm after my bloodline. But if I do it, I'm also getting back to what I said I'd be getting back to. He posted that video on social media the day after he lost. 2 days after he lost, excuse me. He said he was a day of mourning. Back on the Stairmaster, day one of getting that title back. Is it more personal? Is it about his bloodline? Or is it also about finding a way to get back to the championship? Who's to say that a beatdown of Cody after he wins doesn't bring Roman out and it's just a face-off? Solo backs everybody up. Or they try to extend the olive branch. And Roman just looks at it. Shake. And then they exit. That's probably a little anticlimactic for a SummerSlam ending. But man, I just don't see. If Cody Solo's not the main event, you take Roman off the table. If it is, though, everybody's going to be waiting for Roman. A Cody clean win or a Cody win and avoiding a beatdown doesn't feel like the way that show's going off the air. And once again, another time where someone new, someone on the way up, who's not there yet, not new, but on the way up, in a new role, being positioned in a bigger way. That's where Solo sits. Now, is he in that spot because that will continue? Which I hope it does. I think there's a lot in Solo. I think there's a lot in that group. They have fixed it. They have righted the ship. Jacob Fatu's a big part of that. Or does the ascension just kind of stop? Does it plateau for a minute? Multiple minutes? Does it become more about Roman? About the bloodline? Cody's walking out of SummerSlam with the WWE Championship. I think that's a given. It's more about the aftermath. And you know what? That's continuing the story. And you can watch that with me tomorrow, right here on the wrestling mat. Here's what we have for you. You could be here. You sign up for any level. It starts at $2.99 at thewrestlingmatchshow.com. Right below us, the join button. I'll be watching it with you. And here's what you get for any of those tiers. Right below Todd, the base level, $2.99 a month. $6.99 a month for the mid-quarters. The mat event is $24.99 a month. You see everything you get there. We're adding stuff to that, believe me. But for this month only, anybody on any membership tier can watch SummerSlam with me and the other mat members tomorrow night. Get your Peacock on one screen or the WWE Network or however you're going to watch, and put us up on the other. I'll be talking into the chat the entire time. Anything you want to ask, we'll talk about it during the show. I'm sure there'll be a million commercials because it's on Peacock and they have to fill that time. So, no, we're not doing the countdown in 3 hours, but I will be with you here for SummerSlam. So, if you haven't signed up yet, go do so at thewrestlingmatchshow.com. If you're watching live, the join button. And if you are a Matt member on the mid-card or Matt event tier, it's already up for you, the top 5 SummerSlam matches of all time, according to me. 30 minutes, historical info, my thoughts, where things could have gone, where the company stood at the time of those main events. We jump all over, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. It's all covered there. And then debuting later today for mid-carders and Matt eventers at 7 Eastern, premiering here for just you guys, and you could be in that group, the worst 5 SummerSlam main events of all time. Once again, historical data, where the company was at the time, little background on the matches for those that don't know, because there's a lot of matches from the 90s in there. My anecdotes, stuff I did during those matches, what I watched, what I saw, where I was at. share it all with you. And a lot more of that bonus content will be coming your way. And we love getting your suggestions on that. So stay tuned for that. Love to have you to sign up to be a member. That would be fantastic. And if you do sign up, of course, before SummerSlam tomorrow, you can join us in the watch party. So I will see the Matt members tomorrow night for our SummerSlam watch party. And for everybody else, we'd love to have you aboard soon. But we will see you Monday and each and every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be back tomorrow and next week to talk about wrestling even more right here at the Wrestling Mat.